Good morning, everybody. Before we get started with the business meeting, I'd like to just take this opportunity to introduce Ray Netherwood. He's from right here in Collier County. He has a special announcement he'd like to make, so I don't want to spoil it for him. So let me turn the mic over real quick for Ray Netherwood.
Is this thing on? Good morning.
Good morning.
Fellow libertarians, guests, disgruntled Republicans and Democrats, my name is Ray Netherwood, and I'm here to announce that I'm running as a Libertarian candidate for United States Congress, Florida District 19. I've asked myself in the past, why would anyone want to run for public office? I don't come from a political family, I don't have any long-term or greater political aspirations, and I don't need to be elected U.S. Congressman for a job or the money. I lived part-time in Washington, D.C. for a year, nearly 2 decades ago, and never envisioned having to do so again. So the question, why run? The answer comes in part because I love my country. I also love the principles that it once stood for. Notice the past tense. But those principles are the foundation of what made us great and what will make us great once more. It seems, there's a fly, it seems that the liberties and freedoms citizens of this nation should be enjoying are not flourishing or increasing in scope, but have diminished over time, and come under repeated attacks today from those who think the Constitution to be antiquated and that they somehow think that they know what's good for us. They also seem to think that they know how citizens should spend their money, which would seem to be, send it to Washington. Then they'll tell you where and when you can have health care, what fuel to put in your cars, what light bulbs to use in your homes and businesses, and now how many bullets your gun's clip or magazine can hold. We are now at the point where people realize that the problems today are not the fault of Republicans or Democrats, it's the fault of both Republicans and Democrats. Again, why run? We have a liberal left that seems to think money comes out of thin air and has saddled future generations with crushing debt. And liberals would seem to be anything but liberal, because we are supposed to live lives that have been approved by them, even if it's more of a do as I say, not as I do approval. We have a conservative right that talks fiscal prudence, but has likewise spent tax dollars as though on binges. They infringe upon our rights with legislation like the Patriot Act, the indefinite detention provisions of the National Defense Authorization Act, and more. On social issues, the standard GOP answer always calls for more governmental regulation. People should be free to make their own choices and to live their lives as they see fit without causing harm to another. Here's my belief in what I stand for. Government has gotten too big, too greedy, and is out of control. It needs to be reined in and confined by the Constitution as our founders envisioned. Welfare and social engineering from the left have created generations of government-dependent people. We've kept ghettos populated rather than incentivizing a way out. For my Republican friends, let's get the federal government out of the abortion business. Why is Planned Parenthood getting over $360 million a year in government grants when our nation is broke? Let's work together to reduce abortions in this country, while at the same time respecting that all people have the ultimate authority over their own bodies. If you want to marry your best friend, male or female, then do so. This is not a matter for government interference. Check the Constitution. If you don't want to use marijuana, don't. Legalization doesn't mean that someone's going to hold you down and make you smoke or eat a brownie. But spending over $40 billion a year on a failed drug war is senseless. And if Johnny is sitting in math class and wants to close his eyes and silently ask for some help, great, but just don't subject the whole class or school to having to do so. Again, why run? I went to the Air Force at the age of 17 to be a police officer. I thought it was a noble profession and that I could help people. The operative word is help. It would almost seem like the focus today is arrest or impose some constitutionally questionable law or action. I stayed 20 plus years because I discovered I could make a positive difference in the organization where I was stationed. I am indebted to my country for travel and informal education, for my formal education that included undergraduate and graduate degrees, for a commission as an officer, and for leadership opportunities in healthcare administration. I felt a calling many years ago, and I feel that calling again now. This country needs some generalists in Washington who can get their minds and arms around big problems and come up with big solutions. I'm a fast learner and I hit the ground running. That's what I've done in my life, and that's what I will do again. I'm angered and disappointed over the current situation our great nation is in, but I also have hope. We can turn this around, and I am answering the call. This country needs libertarians. I envision that absent getting people in Congress who will vote on issues objectively, our two-party system will continue to darken our future, not brighten it. We need more freedom and liberty, not less. We need less big government, not more. And we need to get our fiscal mess in order. So no campaign would be complete without promises, and here are 3 easy ones with more to follow. First, I believe we need an amendment to the Constitution on term limits, and I would work towards that end. If elected, thanks, Dale. If elected, I personally would not seek more than 3 terms. 6 years is more than enough time in Washington for any representative. Second, I will never vote to raise the debt ceiling unless in the time of a declared war, and I will never vote for an unbalanced budget or tax increase. I will not burden our children and grandchildren with any more debt than they already have. Third, behavior of Nancy Pelosi and Democrats on Obamacare was reprehensible. The notion that any member of Congress voted on a bill that he or she had not read defies logic and the duty members owe their constituents. How taxpayers and voters can re-elect someone who willfully did not do his or her job is also amazing. My promise, I will never vote on something that I have not read. Again, why run? Florida needs unfettered opportunities for business, not overregulation. We need jobs. We don't need labor unions. We don't need them in the private sector, and we certainly don't want them or need them in the public sector. Have we learned nothing from Detroit or California and Illinois? Unions have outlived any usefulness. Everything they did 50 or 75 years ago, safety, wages, medical insurance, was great at the time, but the nanny state has taken all that over, and not just at the federal level, but redundantly at state levels too. We don't want the federal government to invade our privacy any more than it already does. If anything, we need to get back some of what has been surrendered. We don't want the internet censored, and we don't want the government tracking our every move. If the government wants to perform a search, physical or electronic, it should make a case before a judge and obtain a warrant. This is why I'm running. I want to go to work for you, for your parents, your children, grandchildren, and neighbors. America needs and deserves a return to greatness. Greatness fostered by freeing people from a government that takes their money and then wants to dictate what they can or can't do. We don't need to reinvent the wheel. Our forefathers did a great job back in 1776. But we can improve on how we govern ourselves. Getting libertarians into office can be a step in the right direction. And I don't operate with a view of scarcity. America's greatness doesn't mean other nations cannot be great. Rather, greatness can be shared. In fact, as the world continues to shrink because of transportation, communication, and economic innovations and progress, it becomes clear that we must share greatness. We have much to teach, but also much to learn. Libertarians need your help. I need your help. Become involved. If you're active in county-level libertarian groups, support libertarian candidates. If none are running, find someone who will or consider running yourself. Please sign my... Please Please sign my petition and help me get on the ballot if you live in District 19. If you live elsewhere, then find the Libertarian candidates where you live and sign their petitions. The signatures are needed to simply get candidates on their ballots at election time. There's no further obligation or commitment on election day. You can vote for whomever you want. But I ask that you look at your options objectively, that you find the best candidate for the job and support him or her wholeheartedly. I'm confident that if you do so, you will want to support me, and I'll continue to do everything I can to earn your vote. I look forward to meeting District 19 voters over the course of the campaign and being able to present clear differences in political philosophies between the parties and real differences between the candidates. Thank you today for listening. Visit my website at ray2014.com for more information. We're updating and adding new information every day. If you like what you see, or if you really dislike the other candidates, then donations would be welcomed, and your vote in 2014 greatly appreciated. I have petition forms outside of the Collier County table. Take a few extra for family, neighbors, and friends to sign, and the forms will also be available on the website. Please come and find me during this convention and introduce yourself. If you have questions or just want to talk, I'll be happy to discuss the race with you. And thanks. And unless you're a dead Democrat or really named Mickey Mouse or Goofy, please only sign one candidate petition form for me. I wish you all a good time here, safe journeys home, and more liberty and more freedom in your lives. So let's get serious now. Thank you, and see you on the campaign trail.